Hey guys, Darren here. Welcome to Mayhem Country Living. I want to show you what we are doing today. Today, New Year's Day. Happy New Year's, guys. We are going to have a traditional Deep South soul food New Year's meal. We are going to have black-eyed peas with cornbread, and we're also going to have collard greens with them. It is supposed to be for luck. The black-eyed peas represents coins. The greens represent currency, folded money, and the cornbread represents gold. So we have done this for years and years, ever since I was little. This is a thing in the South. Traditionally, this was considered slave food. This was considered cow peas, or black-eyed peas were considered animal feed, and really wasn't a whole lot to pick and choose from. So you would get a piece of a pig or something like that, and by a piece I mean you would get an ear or a snoot being a nose, an ear, a nose, a hock or a jowl, or some chitlins, and you would incorporate it into it and use whatever else you had available, garlic, onions, whatever herbs you wanted to put in there. You can do Jamaican twists on it, stuff like that. But that is the history of it and where it came from. And we're going to do it a traditional Deep South, black-eyed peas, collards, and cornbread. Happy New Year. More to come. Now, we've got our black-eyed peas soaking. We have had them soaking overnight since yesterday. What you would do, pick them. By pick, I mean pick through to make sure there's no stones or anything, or pick out the bad beans as well. Then you would wash them, fill them up in a pan of water with a lid, set it on your stove overnight, and check on it before you go to bed, because it will draw all of the water into the bean. Then you'll add a little bit more. In the morning when you get up, what you're going to do is you're going to pour this off, whatever water is left, and you're going to fill it back up, and you're going to let it sit again. Those beans will not accept or absorb any more just regular water. We're going to boil out some of the water, and we're going to put in more flavor with our spices. And we can talk about how we are trying to make a complex bouquet, but this is just how you add to it. We're going to do onion. We cut it up large cuts. We're going to get our garlic. We're going to mash it up with a knife, BC special. And we've got the ends of the onion that we're going to use for a little green. We also have some greens, wild greens, that I just went out and got out of the yard. And we have our ham bone. This is our ham bone from Christmas. More to come. Okay guys, I want to show you this. These are the beans. And like I said, they've been soaking since overnight. If you had homemade chicken broth, you can add that to it, and that gives it a fantastic flavor. I am going to throw in 1 bouillon cube. I am making this in a low sodium format because I have friends who are watching their sodium levels. Kevin is one of them, Kevin Ryder. And so we're going to be watching our sodium on this. You can always add a little bit more. Now we will be using a little bit of the Mediterranean sea salt. We will be using coarse ground pepper as well, and we're going to be using some of my buddy's chef pork chop. Shake Your Butt Rub. This is the available from Pork Chops Country Kitchen at gmail.com. That is his reorder. Just send him an email and he will get everything squared away with you. Now we're going to add stuff to it. More to come. Okay guys, I'm going to show you how we're doing this real quick. Again, we're using our BC special. Peel off the paper of this garlic, or the outer skin. There we go. going to crush it. Crushing it helps release the oils, and it also makes that paper come off really fast. There we go. Going in the pot. Going to do it again. Make a nick. There we go. And I'm going to cut that just like that. Now, I've got the onion cut already. These are the wild onions, just for a little bit of green in it. And I'm cutting them big, because that way, if you don't want them in there, you can pick them out. Now, I'm going to spin you around here. In they go. Every little bit, every little piece. What doesn't go in it, and what ends and pieces we don't use, we will recycle, put them in our compost, and or ultimately they will make it to the chickens. More to come. Okay guys, I want to show you this. Look at that ham bone. Big old bone. We're actually going to add a little bit more liquid to this. We're going to get this in there. Now, after we get through handling this, we're going to wash our hands, and then we're going to put this thing on to simmer, and we're going to start cooking. More to come. Okay guys, now we're back cleaning as we go, and we washed our hands like I said because we just been handling that cooked meat. Going to be about a half of a teaspoon of black pepper, and then we are going to half a teaspoon coarse ground sea salt. Boy, you can smell the oil from the pepper. There we go. And look, the water's starting to heat up. We're at the good part of it. The oil's starting to come out of the meat. Let's get all that good. There we go. Now, we're going to let that sit. But first, let's add just a little pinch of chef pork chops. Shake your butt rub. This is good stuff. You can do, if you're doing like a really Creole dish, this will go very nicely with it. There we go. Now, while this is cooking, we are going to spin around, and we're going to get our greens prepared. I'm going to put them in this pot next to it. More to come. Okay guys, now we're back. I wanted to show you again, this is that BC Special trapper's knife I had him make for me probably about a year ago. Best knife I have ever had. He does an exceptional job crafting these knives. That one is Damascus steel. He doesn't make Damascus steel knives anymore unless you maybe do a custom request and beg him really nice. But since I've been using it, I went ahead and oiled it, and I'm using it on food, so I'm using an olive oil just to coat it. But I want to show you what's happening over here. Kitchen magic. Look at that. We've got our beans going, peas rather. We've got the onion, we got the garlic, we got the spices, got the ham bone in there, and right now everything is cooking. The marrow is cooking out of that, and it's going to give it a fantastic flavor. We're going to have to cook this for a little while, and that gives us time to get our greens going. Greens are a tradition in the South here. There are many different kinds: turnip greens, custard greens, or mustard greens, some people call them. Collard greens, and then there's poke salad. You wash all of them, repeat, wash, repeat, especially with poke salad. That's not what we're dealing with today. What I did, I washed these guys really good to get off all the sand or grit from the leaves. I cut the stalks about 8 or 9 inches. Now, you can just, like I said, throw these in your compost. You can also do some things with them. You can cut these things up into small pieces about this big. You can bread them, and you can then fry them just like you do okra. There we go. Something about that size right there. Bread it. Fry it. Fry it in hot oil. Man, that's good. It's a good treat. Yeah, that's going. Now, how we prepare our collard greens. It's not going to be anything too technical, too terribly hard. You can cut them. We're just going to rip them apart into bite-sized pieces. We're going to try not to boil all of the vitamins out of them. These are good nutrients. We're going to cook them, boil it, pour it off, cook them again, and that should be about it. So it will be a little firm still, firmer than what I've eaten in the past. But look at that. Isn't that beautiful? These are good greens. And I went ahead and cut them like I said. So these guys are prepped and ready. Wash them with cold water. If you get them the night before, keep them in the refrigerator. Really cool. Keep them in cold water. That way they don't start getting limp. More to come. Okay guys, with the help from my lovely assistant, she said not to show her this morning. So I'm only showing half of her.
I'll slap you with some collard greens.
That is not nice. Look at that pretty face. I'm only showing half of her. See? And she suggested not using the stalk. When I was younger, we always just cut them up, ripped them up, and put them in the pot. But what she is doing is going down taking the stalk out, that goes in the compost, and then these will get shredded. Actually, yeah, the chickens don't like the greens that much. I just fed them a whole bunch of old spinach, and they did not care for
They
it.
didn't think that was a very good New Year's Day.
I guess not. They're not Popeye chickens. All right, guys.
With
More
the
to come.
eggs.
Yeah. Okay, guys, here we go. Look at this. Got those greens in there, and got some ham. Gonna put a little bit more ham in there as well. We've got the black-eyed peas cooking, and you can see the oil from the fat in the water. That is some flavor right there. We turned them down low because we're going to simmer them the rest of the day. You don't want to hard boil them right now, because if you do, the beans will get too soft too fast, and it can turn into kind of a mush, which is still edible, but it is just not ideal. But you can see we got some stuff going on here. Got this last little piece of ham I'm going to cut. We're going to throw it in. When these things are just about done, we're going to start boiling these very quickly. Like I said, we're not going to boil them very long. More to come. Okay guys, now we're back. Show you where we are. This is essentially done. We've got it down on simmer. Went ahead and took the bone out and got the bone outside cooling off. We have our greens, and they are almost ready to start cooking. And Hooch is getting ready to make cornbread. Easy peasy cornbread recipe. White cornmeal. Self-rising. Okay. 2 cups of white cornmeal self-rising. 2 eggs. 2 cups of buttermilk. That's it. We got it going in a skillet.
A little butter.
Got it greased up. Yep. I'm using butter, nothing but butter. And
Once the butter melts, I do pour it in there.
yeah, what she said. We're gonna let this butter melt down, pour it into here. The pan will still be greased up, and then we'll mix it up. Yeah, it'll be hot, ready to go in the oven. How long are you gonna cook it for?
I don't know.
She don't know until it's done. How about that?
35 minutes maybe.
What she said, 35 minutes. Okay guys, now I also know some people are going to ask me how much water do we put in the beans. Yeah, it depends. We used a bag of beans. It was 16 ounces of China doll pinto beans. I'm sorry, China doll black-eyed peas.
They seem to be cleaner.
Yeah, China doll brand doesn't have as many rocks or impurities in it, just out of the bag. We still check it though. And I'll show you what happened. Something mysteriously happened. All of a sudden, we got sausage in there. So, we pulled out the ham, put in a couple of pieces of smoked sausage. It has been cooking since 10 o'clock this morning, and it is almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Slow cooking, so we don't mash up our beans. And it's going to be a fantastic dinner. More to come. Hey guys, one thing before I do forget, like and subscribe this video. If you would also consider joining us on Patreon at Mayhem Country Living, consider joining Mayhem's Rebels. Yes, and you can get all kinds of bonus content. There's extra behind the scenes videos that we do, and there are also a bunch of downloadable PDF formats that will help you in your preparedness. Also remember that we have a sister channel, Mayhem Preparedness, that is a little bit more of an adult channel, but it is still very good, a lot of good information there. One thing you might want to look at also is joining us in the Facebook groups, Mayhem Country Living, or Country Living, and Mayhem Preparedness. We are also on Parler now at, you guessed it, Mayhem Country Living. More to come, guys. One more thing, guys. You might also consider going to Teespring, Teespring, Mayhem Country Living there as well, and you can find all kinds of good stuff, t-shirts, hoodies, stuff like that, coffee cups if you are so inclined, with various sayings and such. More to come. Okay guys, now we have the finished product for dinner, and everything has turned out fantastic. We have our black-eyed peas, which represents coins, our turnip greens, which represents currency, folding money, and then we have the cornbread, which represents gold or bullion. And to top it off, a little bit of Trappy's pepper sauce and peppers. Those are hot and they are good. Thanks for coming by, guys. Happy New Year. Take care of you people.